present, or future, the City of Dillon has a rich heritage. Join us now for Down Home Dillon, where we will focus on our history, present accomplishments, and the future of our great city. Welcome to Down Home Dillon.
Good morning. Welcome to this hot, humid day, July 10th, 11 o'clock here in the great city of Dillon, South Carolina, for another edition of Down Home Dillon. We'll have a couple things to talk about. It's been kind of quiet, though. As you know, a lot of people are still kind of sheltering in place, and this ongoing saga, this COVID-19 is still here, if not ramping up. So we're all just kind of going with the flow and doing what we have to do to get by it and go forward. So with that said, we'll be right back in just a moment.
Experience true Southern hospitality. Enjoy an unforgettable day of golf and warm up your game right here in your own backyard at the newly renovated City of Dillon Municipal Golf Course, formerly Twin Lakes. If you haven't shot around here recently, you should give it a try. With 18 holes for $18 every Thursday, value is in the bag. Memberships are available and no tee time required, but call ahead anyway. We'll get a cart ready for you.
Welcome back. Like I stated earlier, there's not a whole lot that I got to report on. What we're going to do is call the city manager like I've done in the past. Instead of him coming in, I just call him right here on the cell phone and see what's going on with the city, anything Mr. Glenn Wagner would like to add. I'm sitting here thinking, what's going on around town. I know there is some activity on Main Street on revitalization efforts, which is good. Out on Radford Boulevard, I know the restaurants are wide open on the drive-through. Spoke with a good friend of mine, Nazmi Khalil with King's Pizza, and his sales, from what he told me, are actually up before the virus hit. But a lot of people are struggling on this, obviously. Who knows what's going to happen with the schools, which, influences the city with things like security for football games. It's just a lot of uncertainties right now. Everybody's trying to just waiting for this thing to subside, waiting for a vaccine to come out, which I think there will be vaccine for it. In fact, I think there will be multiple vaccines before any of us even realizes. I think it'll be sooner than we realize. Not only that, but what I'm reading about other things is maybe not even a vaccine for some companies, but something called like what they call a COVID shield. Some companies are working on a drug that if you get the virus, it doesn't affect you at all. And that in itself would be nice to have. It's been a hectic week for my house. I had my son contracted the virus. He didn't even know it, had a day he was not feeling so well. So we checked them temperatures up just a little bit, lost his sense of smell and taste. So I figured he had it. We quarantined him for about 10 days, 11 days. He went to the beach twice. That's why he probably picked it up there somewhere. So, it's touched home personally. Then my wife and son got tested. They were negative, but my son had all the other symptoms, my younger son. So we kept him in the home for 6, 7, 8 days. I haven't experienced a symptom at all. I weren't tested, and I don't know how y'all feel about that, getting tested. It's kind of been a adventure getting tested, finding a place, number one, and number two, finding a place that you can get a result in 24, 48 hours. My son had to wait 6 full days before he got an answer. My wife and youngest child was 4 to 5 days. There are a couple places you can go and they say you get a turnaround in 24, 48 hours. But, it's just something we haven't dealt with. Has it been fun dealing with it? Not only that, you got this social unrest throughout the country on top of it. So a lot of, it's been a tough year, a tough summer thus far, to say the least. I mean, I hate to be a lot of doom and gloom coming out of my mouth, but that's what we have. Even the weather with these storms every other day is hurting the farmers. They can't get in the field too. So the weather's kind of been right there with everything else going on this year for 2020. But, Jane said, they had the Spanish flu back in, I think, 1917, somewhere in there. We've dealt with pandemics before. It's not anything new. It won't be the last. So, we're going on, and people are getting used to it. I just hope the kids get back in some sense of normalcy with the schools and back to school. The parents can go back to work, and everybody's life will get back somewhat the way it was. And again, it will. There's no doubt. Everybody will get over this, and we'll move forward, and it'll just be a bad memory. But part of it will probably be with us, for good. So we'll see how it goes. We'll take a short break. I'm going to go ahead and get Mr. Wagner on the phone and see what's going on up there at Town Hall.
Experience true Southern hospitality. Enjoy an unforgettable day of golf and warm up your game right here in your own backyard at the newly renovated City of Dillon Municipal Golf Course, formerly Twin Lakes. If you haven't shot around here recently, you should give it a try. With 18 holes for $18 every Thursday, value is in the bag. Memberships are available and no tee time required, but call ahead anyway. We'll get a cart ready for you.
All right, welcome back down home Dillon today. Got Mr. Glenn Wagner with us. Glenn's been doing this virtually now for the last couple times. May do it like this going forward. It seems to have worked out pretty good. We hear him pretty well when I go back and listen to the show on TV. So, a lot of this going on. A lot of this will continue to go on virtually, and that's just the way it's going to be. But anyway, welcome, Glenn, back to Down Home Dillon.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, good to have you. I told them earlier, I went over a little bit what I thought of the virus and how it's affecting downtown like everybody else. And, it has slowed things up other than the drive-thrus at the restaurants. They are wide open. I mentioned even Nazmi Khalil, talking to him the other day. He's actually busier now than he was before the virus. If you look at some of our fast food restaurants, the Zaxby's and the other ones, a Cookout, you really can't even hardly get in there without staying out there on Radford Boulevard. So things are, people are getting out. I don't know about, it's definitely affecting other things, like our movie theater at the Plaza Cinemas. I hate it, and I wonder about those type of businesses, what's going to happen. It's been that one in particular has been a good little jewel for us here, but it's going to be hard on the small businesses, and unless we get back to some normalcy soon. But that's just part of it. What's going on at the city? Anything since last time we spoke?
Well, I guess since the last time, it's been a month now, we were probably talking about budget at that time, if memory serves me correctly.
Yep.
Council and myself, along with staff, presented our budget request back in June. It was finalized June 29th June 29th and passed. And in that budget, there were for the first time in several years, we had no rate increases in water and sewer. We didn't have any rate increase in sanitation, and we did not have a rate increase in stormwater. However, council did include a $2 mil tax increase, which when people hear tax increase, they get upset and get concerned, and all should. But also on the bottom line, just on the city tax that you would pay with this $2 mil tax increase, it's small amounts of money that it affects the property owner. But then again, any increase people don't like, but we did have to put in an increase, which will generate roughly about $36,000 of additional revenue. But overall, we think we have a good budget in place. We changed our health insurance to also help us have a little bit more revenue, about 150 to 170,000 in savings for this first year in our health insurance, which is a good thing. We don't know what health insurance is going to do yearly, so we feel good going with the state insurance plan. The employees appreciated that as well, so it gives them some options that they didn't have in the past. We did include also again this year our facade grants that were put in place 3 or 4 years ago for businesses in the historic district. Still have $24,000 that the city will grant to businesses at no more than $3,000 a project, and then that business, the property owner, can get 50% of that money back up to $3,000. So we have that in place. We also put in place back in December of 2019, council passed, and prior to you going off council, we had talked about some incentives for new businesses, not just downtown, but throughout the city to attract new businesses. So we've got to start pushing that. And those incentives include some rebates off of their building permits, rebates off of their business license, and then some rebates if they have to pay hospitality tax and or local accommodation tax. So we've got those in place that we hope to start attracting businesses.
Well, let me interrupt you real quick on that. Yeah. What about hookup fees?
Well, if water and sewer, if there's an existing water and sewer tap there's nothing waived. However, if a new water and sewer has to be made at that particular location, then that is waived.
Wow. Okay.
And right now we've had one business has taken the advantage of the incentives, and rightfully so, and that's Miss Tammy Berry, who's hopefully opening up this coming week on Main Street. She had purchased 3 buildings back last year in the 200 block of West Main Street. A restaurant, a little grill, I think a ice cream place, something like that. I'll call it a donut shop. Maybe it's not what that is, but more of a cakes and pies and things of that nature, my understanding. So she should be opening up here in the next week or so, and she took advantage of these opportunities. And then as you know, Starbucks, they're now open here in Dillon. So
well, they are at times.
At times. I've been once, and I've noticed that they're closed at particular times during the day, and don't know why. I'm making the assumption that they may not be able to have enough staff to do what needs to be done there, but I do think that they are busy, but nothing like Zaxby's and Cookout. I tell you, Zaxby's on Radford Boulevard, it doesn't matter what time of the day.
No.
Prior to the virus or now, it was always busy. But from a city standpoint, we took a little hit in some lost revenues beginning in April through June, but wasn't nothing very hard hit or a lot of money. And those actually were hits from the hospitality fees that we collect and the local hotel fees that we collect. We usually average $50,000 to $55,000 a month in what we call the hot meals tax. During April, May, and June, we were right at $50,000. So we were losing about $3,000 to $4,000 a month off of those. And then the hotel and motel tax, somewhere around the same ballpark, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month that we did not collect, just because there didn't have people staying at these at the local motels. But I think it'll pick up. We're seeing some increases here and there, and hopefully it's going to get better. Can't get any worse, I hope. But we're praying and continuing to do what we can do to provide the services to the people of the city of Dillon.
Yeah. Let me ask you, oh God, that was a good summary. That about hit all the points. y'all are doing away with the Merchant Association downtown and going something called to the Dillon Community Alliance?
Well, not the city.
Not the city, yeah, it's private.
Yeah, it's more of a private type organization. As you remember, when you served on council, one of the things that I always asked some of that local merchants was, y'all need to have a merchants association. And they have been trying for the last 2 or 3 years, and that's my understanding that is now in place. They finally got their notification from the state, got their nonprofit status. In fact, I'm meeting with some of those folks first of next week. I think it's going to be a plus, not just for the city, but for the merchants, and not just downtown. I think they're looking to attract any and all businesses within the city to be a part of their organization, and they want to do things throughout town, whether it's some sort of special event on the street, at the plaza, or trying to coordinate all businesses to do certain sales at certain times, and just have a group of people who can, business folks, to work together.
Yeah, I think they want to initially charge like $100 per member, and to go in, they help. If there's grant opportunities or incentives, they'll highlight that just to, I guess, to promote downtown, and have a team, I guess, put together to be able to do things together, and let each merchant know what's going on in downtown. And it's a good thing. Glad to see it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Any news out on the golf course? Any developments there?
Well, the last month, which would have been June, council agreed to additional 2 more years on the lease for the golf course itself and the golf course hole.
Okay, didn't know that. Good.
Yep. So that's been, now goes to June 30th, 2022. Since the virus came about and things started to close down in March or so, the golf course has been open and has been producing a good bit of revenue. Usually we have a bunch of tournaments between March and June, and that helps in revenue as well, but there have been no tournaments going on, but play has actually been higher than normal. There's been 2 or 3 months where we've generated $20,000 or plus dollars more. I mean, $20,000 each month, where we usually were doing 14 to 15,000. So there's been increases in revenue. So that tells us more play is being done, and it's looking good, and
yeah,
hopefully it continues.
Well, good. I'm glad that's settled, and I think it's a good thing for the city. It's a good thing for the people. I went out there a few times myself in the last 3 or 4 weeks with my son, and it has been busy, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that. Most people out there playing I didn't even know. So, I think overall that's good. I'm glad to see it's been accommodated with 2 more years to go. You'll probably hear a beep on my phone. I haven't had a call all day, then I get 3 on this. I don't know anything else really happening right now.
Well, let me add, if I may.
Yeah.
Since the virus and things being shut down, we're at the city, at the Water and Sewer Department, are making some changes and that we implemented, and one was we're now taking payments over the phone that we never have done in the past, which a lot of people are utilizing, which is great. We appreciate that. But we're also starting probably mid-August, no later than the 1st of September, we'll have in place online payments.
Okay.
The people can now go online and make payments, hopefully by the 1st of September. They will continue to be able to come to the water department to pay as well. We continue to have our drop box available for people to use. And once this new system comes online for online payments, you're still going to be able to call and make payments over the phone. However, you just won't talk to our staff. You'll talk to an automated process, and you can do it that way over the phone. So we're trying to to get into the 21st century, even though we're 20 years behind on those kind of things, but we're gauging ourselves to do that. People have appreciated us taking phone payments now, and it's helped them tremendously, and it's helped our staff tremendously as well.
Good.
So.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we're going to close this segment, and we'll get back with you hopefully sometime latter part of August, and start talking about the fall.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
All right. Thank you. All right. It's Mr. Glenn Wagner. He had a lot to say. He usually doesn't say that much. So, things I didn't know. I know the budget was passed, and they were going into a new fiscal year. I didn't know about the golf course, and so it's this city seems like it's rocking right along fine. A lot of municipalities are having a tough time in this environment, especially your bigger cities. You hear on TV how they're just, I don't know how they're going to, some of them not file bankruptcy. It sounds like it's that bad. That ain't the case here. And probably in a lot of smaller towns are doing much better than your large urban areas because of all the unrest and everything else. But with that said, I think we'll close this show. Take care of yourself, stay safe, watch your neighbor, be considerate to everybody, and we'll get by it, and we'll see you next month on Down Home Dillon. Thank you.